So we got Rambo coming out this weekend. Actually looks like a fun movie. I'm going to probably go check it out. It seems like it's a pretty straightforward action flick. Doesn't try to give you a lecture like a lot of entertainment today where lectures are mandatory. Got to sit down, put your feet back, get ready for a good old lecture with your entertainment. This movie doesn't do that. And of course, that's why IGN decided to give it a 4.5. Well, why did they give it a 4.5, you say? Well, we go over to the writer's Twitter. It sums it up right here. Badass and racist. Just like most Rambo films. My review of Rambo Last Blood only on IGN. A site nobody's going to anymore. Analytics are dropping for all of you people. IGN, GameSpot, all of you are losing your traffic. And it's for good reason. And it's because of stuff like this. So, let's go over this. Because it's a poop show. It's bad. And a lot of the criticisms for this are really stupid. One was, it doesn't take a stand in 2019. A political stand. It got marked down for that. Because it doesn't lecture you. It doesn't lecture you on Orange Man bad stuff. Keep in mind, IGN is based, I believe, in San Francisco or San Diego. I'm not sure which one. I think San Francisco. So you know it's overrun with blue hairs. IGN used to be an alright site. Probably back when Colin Moriarty was there. It was actually a decent site. But now it's just overrun with trash. Overrun with trash. Just did a video on a guy that's there talking about how he wanted to throw milkshakes at people he doesn't agree with. Keep in mind, I'm sure it's milkshakes with rocks and stuff in it. So, you know how it is with these people. And by the way, tomorrow, Link's Awakening comes out. Oh, so excited for that. So excited for that. I'm going to probably try and stream it, I think. We'll see. Might stream it over on Twitch. Follow me over on Twitch. Link in the description. So anyway, the arc of John Rambo first began in 1982. It was a broody action film, First Blood, and has been an unusual one to say the least. Rambo was initially presented as an emotionally wounded ex-soldier who had been deeply stained and hollowed out by the violence he experienced in the Vietnam War. When Rambo first whipped out his hunting knife and began eviscerating small-town sheriffs, it was meant to be seen as the final tragic crack in the soul of a broken man. Now, I do kind of agree with that. Anyone that's seen the old Rambo movies, like, the first movie and the second movie were so different because the first movie was kind of a statement on Vietnam and soldiers coming back and you know, kind of being messed up and how they were treated. That movie did have something to say, did take a political stance, and it did it well. It made it an entertaining movie. The difference now, though, is pretty much because there is no diversity of thought in Hollywood or in California where all this stuff gets written. They pretty much can't creatively make an entertaining, politically stanced movie. They're always, you know, Orange Man bad, and pretty much anyone that disagrees with me is some kind of ismphobe. That's why everyone's so mad about it. They can't creatively do anything that says a message like that movie did. That's why entertainment, you know, from just even 10, 15 years ago is vastly superior to a lot of the trash we get now. Because if you have a different type of opinion of these people, they'll boot you out of the industry. They'll cancel culture you. They'll just take you out, and then you're done. Then you're done. So, one of the things with that movie is it had something to say. And then, you know, he goes to jail. I think in the book, he actually passed away in the police station. But the second one, they bring him out, and he just goes back to war. It had nothing to say. It's a good movie. I like Rambo 2. Rambo 3, not so much. But, you know, compared to the first one, I think it's lacking. Now, apparently this movie tries to bring back the spirit of the first one with him being haunted. And the first part of the review, pretty much, that's what it covers. I actually agree with the first one that, you know, you kind of felt for him in the first one. And then the second one, he was pretty much just a machine of war. So the review actually starts right here. So, talks about how he lives on a ranch and he's got 2 relationships and they're going well. He's got a girlfriend and he's taking care of his niece. And it basically gives us both the sensitive, broken Rambo and one of war. So here's where the problem comes in. Talks about how he has a labyrinth of weapon-lined death tunnels under his Arizona property, which will most certainly be used in an ultra-violent late film climax wherein Rambo will take out several dozen people in increasingly gory ways. Oh no! An action movie that has over-the-top violence? Get out of town! What? There's just no way! The level of gore in this film is absurdly intense! Taking after the 2008 film, the makers of Last Blood have elected to turn Rambo's battlefield antics into something resembling a slasher movie or perhaps an early Peter Jackson joint. By the time the filmmakers hasten to the eyeball-melting action of their film's climax, one can feel a sigh of relief in finally being able to depict outright decapitation, severed feet, exploding heads, and at least one makeshift vivisection. Actually sounds kind of intriguing. Kind of intriguing. I kind of want to see this movie now. The way she's describing it, I'm wondering, like, what's the problem here? What's the problem? Well, we'll get there. There's not much else to go on here. So, if the idea of Rambo laying waste to several tons of human meat sounds exhilarating, know that your eventual laughter will likely be the bitter, incredulous variety. The violence is over the top in a way that isn't fun. Last Blood feels like the work of a disaffected adolescent pulling the wings off of flies. Now, take that last sentence out of there, and you talk about how, it's over-the-top action. That sounds like a fun action movie. We haven't had anything like that in a long time. It's been a long time since we've gotten really good, like, over-the-top action. When was the last time we've had a mainstream movie like that? Everything's so sensitive now. Or a comic book movie. Not that I don't like comic book movies, but I like a good straight-up R-rated action movie, and we don't really get many of those anymore. They're always PG-13. So who are all these people Rambo is taking out? The impetus for this film's action comes from a plot that closely resembles Taken in both its setup and older dad action fantasy and its cultural insensitivity. Oh no, here we go. Orange Man bad. Uh-oh. Cultural insensitivity. Well, you don't say. You don't say. So basically, this Monreal character goes to Mexico. That's his niece. And she goes to find her estranged father, and she gets kidnapped and sold into, boink, 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 boink servitude by 2 cartoonishly evil Mexican crime lords who revel in filth the same way you or I might revel in a warm bath. It is up to Rambo to attempt to rescue her, hence running afoul of said crime lords and beginning a hastily escalating rivalry. The filmmakers have made Mexico seem like an infinite wasteland of crime and death. And most of the Latinx, I hate that word. I've never met anybody that refers to themselves as Latinx. Seems to be some weird, stupid California term. And because they write everything, they can just shove it into everything. So continuing on, characters on screen are criminals or broad stereotypes. I understand that Rambo films have rarely been bastions of cultural togetherness, but in 2019, these broad stereotypes are offensive and dated and downright irresponsible. Nobody cares, okay? Only these people sit there and say, oh, won't anybody think of the poor old POC who want to be, not looked at like, they need some kind of white savior, okay? They want to go enjoy a movie just the same as anybody else. And I highly doubt they care. And second off, I like how she tries to humanize Cartel, okay? Cartel are some nasty people. Nasty people. Not all of Mexico is bad. I think most people go in there understanding that. Mexico's actually, there's some really, really nice places in Mexico. It's not that bad. But, you know, just because one town is shown as being bad or whatever, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. But I highly doubt it's as bad as this person is putting it off to be. It's exaggerated because everyone, you know, they can't be villains. Number one, okay, it would make more sense for them to have two white cartel people. That's how the author will like it. Like they're what are they, FBI plants or something? But I just find this so ridiculous. This is why the movie got knocked down, because it's not a bastion of cultural togetherness. These broad stereotypes are offensive and dated, and they're downright irresponsible, mister. You know what the author is missing in this review? That this is a dumb action movie, and acting like this dumb action movie needs to be serious. Action movies exaggerate stereotypes. It's done for a reason so that, you know, you can just enjoy the movie. But of course, we can't do that anymore. You've got to make sure all those check boxes are hit before you tell the story. You need to make sure you do that. It's ridiculous. These people don't know how to critique S-H-I-T. To Stallone's credit, he manages to give a soulful performance as the part warrants. The early scenes allow the 73-year-old actor, 73, man, grandpa running around on that ranch, to give Rambo a distinct glimmer of humanity lurking underneath all the surface-level combat trauma, a glimmer that had been largely absent from the previous Rambo sequels. He's also appropriately menacing. I was convinced that John Rambo, even in his 70s, could reach into my neck with his bare hands and handily remove my collarbone should the urge strike him. At a trim 89 minutes, actually a good time length for this kind of movie, Last Blood will certainly not leave you waiting. If you're here for violence and badassery, I absolutely will be. You'll get it before you've finished your extra-large Dr. Pepper. If you've come for thoughtfulness, tragedy, character, wit, and a political statement on the effects of war, in short, if you come for anything that was in the original First Blood, then perhaps you'd find solace in a different theater. Or just at home, a safe distance away from Last Blood. The Rambo series continues its track record of ultra-violence, shallow characterization, and an irresponsible politics in Rambo Last Blood. A film with more gore than a horror film and some legit badass action, all too unfortunately plays like the dark fantasies of an angry teen. So let's go ahead and flip that 4.5 to an 8.5 and say that it's probably a good movie. Now, I don't think you can touch the original Rambo. First Blood is a classic movie. If you've never seen it, I highly suggest you check it out. And to be fair, the series probably should have ended there. I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me on that one. Not to say that Rambo 2, and I actually did enjoy Rambo, the one that came out, like, what was it, like 7 or 8 years ago? But the first one was really, really good. But the series has kind of evolved since then into a more action-oriented kind of thing. So you kind of know what you're going to get here. Now, it sounds like they do try, from this review, as much as I can get from it, to bring back some of the elements from First Blood. It actually sounds like it'll be a really good movie, to be honest. Him kind of finding peace and becoming like a regular person and then having to go back into combat. That's what it sounds like. It really does sound like Taken, which tells me it'll probably be a good movie. But of course, because it is irresponsible with politics and has exaggerated stereotypes and doesn't give you a political statement, it's a 4.5. And it's an action movie and it's gory. So, you know, what did this person expect? What did you expect that you were walking into? What was your name? Whitney. What did you think you were going to see? Why did you go review this movie? You obviously aren't an action movie fan. So why were you there? You know, it doesn't make any sense for you to review this movie. You guys should just not review movies in the first place. You can't even review video games anymore. I mean, look at that stupid Call of Duty article you just put out yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is probably a good movie. Let's flip their score to an 8.5. They're also getting roasted in the comments. Offensive. I can't wait. You know, maybe you'd be offended too if Rambo... Oh, can't say that. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this crappy article. What do you think about all of these goons out in California? Like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys on the next one.